So once we go to this example, to this thingspeak.com, there is at the right side there is a button sign in. So click on this sign in, and if you have an account on a ThinkSpeak, so just enter your email. If you do not have an account, then click on a create one. Okay, and once you create your account on this MathWorks and try to log in. So let me create it. I request all of you, those who are working after me, please create your own account so that we'll check the complete data and the complete flow. Okay, so now I got the such type of view of the ThinkSpeak. If you are creating your own channel, just put in a chat box that you are creating your own account on a ThinkSpeak. If it is already created, say yes. If it is not created, say no. And if you are creating right now, say creating, so that I will wait for few minutes, and so that everyone can work in a synchronized. So hope everyone is now created the account on a ThinkSpeak. Yeah. So now you have created account. Thanks. So what we'll do, we'll create a new channel here. So just click on a new channel and give a name to this channel. Say IoT Cloud. Okay. So I have just given a name. You can give any type of name here. So I have given a name here, IoT Cloud. And then I will write here, say that my first data is say light, and my second data is temperature. You can assign the values in any way. What the format we are following now in our code. The first one was the second light, and the first is the temperature. So okay. So what we'll do, we'll go with the temp, and then you can follow any type of sequence here. Okay, don't worry about this. Only just remember uh, what is the field one is there. What is there in the field one? In the field one, we are expected that there should be temperature. In the field two, you have expected that there should be light. Okay, you just note it down that the field one is consisting of a temperature data, and the field two is going to consist of a light data, because that we have to know, that we have to write in our own code. Okay, in Arduino. Okay, so that's why you just remember this thing, that the field one we expected that there should be a temperature data. In the field two, we have expected that there is a light data. Once we are done with this, save this channel. Okay. Now, once we are done with this, fine. And then finally, we'll go to the API keys. So what are the different parameters that we have to note it down? That is the API keys here. Okay. And now, before reading this API keys, there are some of the requests available here. See here, the HTTP GET request is there. This is a GET request. This is a HTTP GET request is there, and through which you can write a data in a channel feed. Okay, so this is the write a data to the channel feed is available. See here, what is the format here? The GET. So we have to write here the GET, and this GET is a HTTP request. Then we have to write a complete API link, that is the https:// then api.thingspeak.com, then update the question mark, then API, then key, and then there is a key is available, and I think this key is different for everyone. So if you log into your ThinkSpeak, this key will be different, just like it is showing. This is the key here, correct? So such type of your own key will be there. And then what is written here? And field 1. Okay, now what actually we have expected in a field 1? The light. So here whatever the 0 value is there, that 0 value is of your light value. So what is the format here? That and is there, it means that you have to again put here the and that will give you the another field 2 value. What actually it means that we can write here the and field 2, so that will give you the field 2 value. So this is the format that we have to follow to write a data to a channel of ThinkSpeak. Very simple concept is there. Okay, and there is a read is also available. Just like see, there is a channel number, channel ID, then the same link is there, and then your API key, and then the results 1, 2, likewise you have to put it. Okay, so all the such requests are given here. So we are going to use the HTTP GET request for both either writing the data and reading the data. We are using what? We are using the GET request from the HTTP. Okay, so what are the different parameters that we have to note it down? The write API. This is a write API available. So you just note it down, or either you just copy it. Fine. Okay. Now, and what is another thing that we needed is the host. So what is the host here? The host is https://api.thingspeak.com. So this is the host. Okay, and what is the complete format? How many fields are there? Field 1 and field 2 are there in this ThinkSpeak. Fine. So now once you noted down all these things, next we'll go to our code, that is the IoT cloud. Okay. Now let me try to understand this circuit, and then we'll move to the code. So here the model that we have used here is a ESP8266 Node MC model. So this is the only a small model which has only 2 outputs. Okay, we can use the Node MCU version 1, likewise the models which has a more number of pins, but which is not available here. So just to test whether the Arduino works as a IoT or not, we are just using this ESP8266 QLE model. So it has the 8 pins available. Out of this, the 1 pin is a TX. The TX pin is directly going to the RX of this Arduino. TX of Wi-Fi module going to the RX of Arduino. Then another pin is there, this one. This is the ground. Then this is, so GPIO2 is not actually connected anywhere. Okay. Then GPIO0 is there, which is also we are not connected. Then there is a enable pin. Then enable pin, reset pin, and then there is a power pin. So all these pins are shorted each other. Which means enable pin, reset pin, and then power pin. All 3 pins are shorted to each other. It means that your Wi-Fi module is in an enable mode, and it goes once it gets the power, it resets itself. Okay, so all these 3 pins we have connected to each other. Then there is another pin RX is available. Now you will surprise that why the RX pin is not directly connected to the TX pin of your Arduino. The problem is that your ESP8266 module, whichever available in the real time, it has a 3.3 volt level support. Okay, whatever the voltage level support is there, 0 to 3.3 volt is there. Whereas the Arduino supports the 5 volt. So whenever we are transmitting the data from the your Wi-Fi module to the Arduino, we do not have an issue because we are transmitting the data. So when we transmit the 3.3 volt level data, obviously the Arduino will get the 3.3 volt level data. But what actually we are doing now, this in the second case, the Arduino is transmitting the data and then we are receiving it to the Wi-Fi module. So the problem is that the Arduino is going to transmit the 5 volt level data. So due to this, the 5 volt data will receive at the Wi-Fi module, and that is not expected. We should receive the 3.3 volt data. So what actually we did here, we have just added one voltage divider network. So here is a 10K resistor and here is a 20K resistor. And that 10K and 20K voltage divider resistor made the voltage available on this terminal as a 3.3 volt. Okay, so what actually we did, this 5 volt is converted into a 3 volt. So due to this, what will happen, whatever the 5 volt transmitted data is there, its voltage level now converted into a 3.3, and that we receive at the Wi-Fi module. Very simple connections are there. Okay, fine. Now ground is connected to the ground, then Rx is connected to the TX through the voltage divider, then TX is connected to the Rx, whereas the enable, reset, and the power pins are shorted to each other because you would like to enable the Wi-Fi module as soon as it gets the power. Okay, now once we are done with this, let me move. Once you are done with these connections, now is there any questions regarding this Wi-Fi module? Yeah, these are the GPIO pins. Okay, GPIO pins mode. This is a general purpose interface IO pin. So suppose if you would like to read some data directly from your Wi-Fi module, or if you would like to control some relay, then you can use these two pins. So there are two pins available here, which we can directly take the data from some switches, or we can directly write data to some relays. Nowadays, you can see that single fan on off or light on off devices are coming up in a market. They are using such type of small Wi-Fi modules and having a single or dual pins which we can connect to the relays, and that relays can be connected, or directly we can control the your light fans. Did not connect directly to why digital pin 1 did not connect directly to RX of the module voltage. Pin 1, where is it? That is what I am saying. No? In a pin 0, so the TX is what? It is a Wi-Fi. The transmitter wire is of your Wi-Fi. Okay, and RX is of your Arduino. So it means that Arduino is here only in a receiving mode. It is not writing anything to your Wi-Fi module. Who is writing here? The Wi-Fi module. Due to this, obviously, while writing the data on this pin, the Wi-Fi module will write the data in a 3.3 volt. So due to this, what we'll get? We'll get only 3.3 volt level here. So we don't need any voltage divider network. Okay. Whereas in second case, the Arduino is writing the data. So therefore, Arduino will write the 5 volt data here. Okay, 5 volt level data. Due to this, we must have to use the voltage divider, so that we'll get the reduced voltage level of 3.3 volt. Okay, hope your query is solved. Mr. Ashish is there. Fine. Now, once we are done with this, and once we are done, set up with the our things fixed. So, what are the different things that we have noted down? The write API key. What are the different fields available? That is a field 1 and field 2 available. Okay, and then now we'll go to our code. Okay, so This is what our Wi-Fi module is here. So we have to first assign, just like for any Wi-Fi, we must have its name and its password. Okay. In the same way, this Wi-Fi module has the SSID simulator Wi-Fi. Remember that we are not going, it is not possible to change this simulator Wi-Fi. I tried many times to change this, but it is not working. Okay. So keep this SSID, the name as it is. Then the password I have kept here is the blank. Okay. Because we are not connecting to any Wi-Fi device. So that's why keep this name as it is, simulator Wi-Fi, and the password as a blank. Hope these first two lines are easy to understand. Then as I have told that what is the host here? What is the host here? This is the host. api.thingspeak.com. This is the host where we are trying to send our data, correct, to the ThingsSpeak. So here, what is the host we have written here? api.thingspeak.com. Fine. And now there is a string URL is there. What is the string URL is there? The string URL here is, let me try to see what is that is there. After this .com, what is the URL is there? Update, then question mark API underscore key equal to, then your right key, then and. So this is, and then field one and equal to. This is what the complete URL is there. Okay. So in the same way, what we'll do, we'll go to the code and we'll see what is written here. See here, slash update question mark API underscore key is equal to. Now here is the something different key is available. So what is the key available in my ThingsSpeak? Let me check. So this is the my right API key is there. So what I will do, I will copy it. Okay. All of you just copy it. Now once we copy this and go to your code and paste it here. So what actually we are doing, we are not using our mind. What actually we are doing, the way the ThingsSpeak said that you have to send me data in this format, we are doing the same link here. So the first host we have created, and then we are creating one link, update, then question mark API underscore key is equal to your right key, okay, and then the field one equal to, fine. Okay, so once you are done with this link, now we'll move to the other part of your setup. Now, in a setup, what we did, actually is, you can see this transmitter and receiver are connected to the Wi-Fi module. So we are sending some, we are going to send some commands to this Wi-Fi module. Okay, since we are not using any type of library here for the Wi-Fi module, we are using the AT commands. Okay, there is a call AT commands to communicate with this Wi-Fi module. And for that purpose, what is the baud rate or the speed at which the Wi-Fi module is supporting is the 115200 is the baud rate your Wi-Fi module is supporting. So very high baud rate your Wi-Fi module supports here. So we are using the serial.begin 115200. Then the first instruction that we are sending is the serial.println 80. Okay, so this allows the whether our Wi-Fi module is ready or not. So we have to send first command is the AT. Once we send AT command to the Wi-Fi module, then Wi-Fi module sends OK return into the Arduino, which it means that the Wi-Fi module is in a ready condition. Okay. Now there is a some formats I already given here. Okay, which are used to send some of the, or which are used to connect some of the Wi-Fi to the networks. Okay. So now this Wi-Fi module is there. This Wi-Fi module should get connected with some Wi-Fi network. So what is the Wi-Fi network is there? The network name is simulator Wi-Fi and the password is blank. And which command that we have to use to get connected this Wi-Fi module to a Wi-Fi network? The command is AT plus CWJAP is equal to SSID comma password. This is the command that we have to use. Okay. And for that purpose, how we have to write it in a C language? It should be written in this format. That is AT. So it should be written in this format. AT plus CWJAP. Okay, so this is a joint access point. Okay, joint access point command is there. Then slash. Okay, then your SSID. Then again backward slash. Then password. Then again backward slash. Then your control R. Okay, so actually this is nothing but control R and control new line is there. Right? Now once, or you can say the carriage return is there, that I think you know in our C language we use. So this is what the complete C code that we have to create. Okay, so this is the original command that we have to write. Okay, but since we are writing a C code, so this should be written in this format. Okay, so let us see how it is written here. So serial.println. Now in single in double quotation we have written what? AT plus CW. Let's see. Try to see. AT plus CWGAP. Okay, then slash, and then we are done with this. So if you see, this double quotation started here and it ended here again, because we are using the plus sign here, and plus SSID is there. So already we have mentioned here the SSID. So this SSID is there, and this SSID is already in a double quotation. Then again plus, and again the double quotation started. So where we have ended, where we have ended actually. Yeah, here actually we have ended. So again we have started with this one, then the comma, this one. So SSID we have added, and then this is a slash, backward slash is there. So we have started with double quotation, then backward slash is there, then comma, then again backward slash, and we have ended this complete part. Okay, then again there is a password, so we have added here the plus, and already password we have noted here, that is a blank. So this is a password, and then there is what is remaining here, this backward slash. Okay, and double quotation. So this is a backward slash. Okay. So now you see there is a slash R and slash N is not there. That is a carriage return is not available, but we are using this ln along with this serial.println. So it is already adding the next line along with this command. So we don't need to write this carriage return here. Fine, carriage return and the new line here. So already there is a ln we are writing with this serial.println function. Fine. So everything we have written here in text format for you can say, and once we are done with this, now we have added some small delay here. Fine. So with this command, actually your Wi-Fi module is going to connected with this SSID and this password. Okay, and then next is what? To get the TCP connection with the host. Okay, so for that purpose, now we are going to connect. What is the host? There is the api.thingspeak.com. So it means that you would like to first connect with that host, and once you are get connected with this host, then we will send this complete URL line. So to connect with any of the TCP connection with any of the hosts, so for that purpose, the command is what? The AT plus CIP start. Okay, and what type of connection that we want? That is a TCP connection. Then the host name, and then there is a port ID. Okay, or HTTP port. So in our case, our host is already we have defined here. This is the host available. Okay, and the port is already the same. The port is 8080, so we are not changing any port here. Fine. Now, so let will again write the same thing. So we have started with the double quotation, then AT plus CIP start is equal to, since there is a double quotation here, so we are using here the black slash then TCP, again we are using here backslash, then comma, and again we are using the backslash, then this is completed. Okay, and then what is the host here? This host is this one. So we are using directly this variable here as it is. So plus host, then plus this backslash, then comma, then again we have completed this plus the HTTP port. Okay, so what is the HTTP port here? Is the 80. So it means that if you would like to connect with the api.thingspeak.com, the HTTP port should be the 80. So by default, actually this port is 80 here. So if your cloud has said that there is a particular HTTP port is there, then that particular HTTP port has to be used in your code. Okay, now we are done with this. So what actually we did in a setup, we send first the AT command to your Wi-Fi module, and we check whether the Wi-Fi module is ready or not. Now second command that we are sending, we are connecting with the network. Okay, we are connecting with the one Wi-Fi network with the name of simulator Wi-Fi and with the password nil. And then we are connecting with the host. That is, we are connecting with the api.thingspeak.com. Remember that if you are using everything, you should have a good internet connection. Otherwise, sometimes it gets failed. Okay. So once you are done with this, so we got connected with the host and everything is done. Fine. So it means that now our connection is established with the internet through the Wi-Fi network, and we have connected with the host of cloud thingspeak.com. Fine. Now once we are done with this, now finally what we have to do, we have to send the data to this format. Okay. So already we have written here our write API key, and only the thing that we have to do is we have to send this data in some particular format. But to send some data, first we have to read it. So there, for that purpose, we have written here reading the A0, that is the temp value, and again the mapping, and both the command I have written in one line. Then analog read A1. Okay, I will remove this part. Okay. And then so we got temp value and the light value. Fine. And what we will do, see here. So what is the command that we have? I will go to the ThingsSpeak, and what is here? Get, then your get, then your host name, and then the line is what? What is the channel field request is what? Update question mark, and this is what actually through this format you have to send the data. So let me create the same format here. See here, what is the HTTP packet? We are given one name, that is the HTTP packet. So which command we are using? Get, and then we are writing plus URI. What is the URL or URL is there? Sorry, actually it is not a URL, it is a URL. So slash update question mark. This is a complete field. And after this, the ThingsSpeak is saying that you should send some value of that field one. Okay, in field one, what we have noted down, let me check. Just I'm setting. In the field one, there is a temperature. In the field two, there is a light. So in a field one, we'll send the temp value. So obviously, whatever the data that we are receiving is the integer. See here, this is the integer value. So, and while sending the data to the cloud, that should be in the form of string. So we are converting that integer value in the string first. So we are just joining this complete. Actually, what we are doing, we are just joining this all parts. Your complete link should be what? Host name slash update, then your write API key, then field one, then its value, and then field two, its value. So this is what the complete link is there, and that we are doing by just joining the part of this string. So get, then as already we have connected with the host, so there is no need to add the host in your this link. So URL plus the string. Okay, and then see again I have used and field 2 equal to us. So that is the same way we have used here, and field 1 here. So and field1 its value, then and field2 its value. So and field2 and its value. Okay. So I'll remove this one from here. I do not want this one. Okay. And then it is going to connect it with the HTTP request. So this is a HTTP /1.1. Okay. So this is a simple HTTP return C code. Okay, don't worry about this. This is a one simple format available for any HTTP request in C. Okay. Now we are just finding out what is the length of this complete URL, and then we are going to send first serial.print 80 plus CIP send. So what actually we are sending the length of this URL. Why this is so? Because we must send first the total length of the URL, so that the whatever the our cloud is there, or whatever the HTTP request is there, that get accepted. So it accepts first the what are the number of characters it is going to receive, and whether it has received that complete characters or not. Okay, so first we have to find out the length of this complete URL. Okay, and then that length we have to send by using the command 80 plus CIP send, and then we have to write the HTTP packet, that is your complete URL. So simple way is there, and then we have added here the delay of 1000. So you can increase this delay also, because the free ThingSpeak does not allow us to read the data less than 15 seconds. Okay, it allows us to write the data in a 1 second format, but it does not allow to read the data of at least of 15 seconds. So after every 15 seconds, you can read the data. So you can also increase this data. Fine. So very simple code is there, and let me try to hope you have did this thing. In your complete code, this you have to change. That is your write API. Okay, I think you don't need to change anything, but only one thing that you have to change is what? Your write API. Okay, you all of you please change the write API. In previous exam we have written in the paper before. Yeah, you can use the same code also, whichever we have used in the previous exam. Why? Fine. Then once you are done with this, let me try to. So we'll go to the ThingSpeak and we'll click on a private view. You can, yeah. Now you can see this. Okay, now you see these two fields we have created. One is the temperature and one is the flight. Now you can see here how many entries are here? 0. It means that we did not get any value from your IoT device. And see here, we do not have any value here. Also, we do not have any value. So let me try to start this simulation. Okay, once you are done with this, let me go to the ThingSpeak. Let me check whether, yeah, see here, it got entries 1, correct? Let me do something here. Here then it is showing that there are 2 entries. 3 entries. Okay. Let me try to change the light value. Let me increase it. Let the temperature also increase. Yeah, good. So we are getting the values of increased temperature and the light values. Yes, good. Fine. So now you can see here we are getting the values after every 15 seconds. What actually it means that your ThingSpeak is accepting and values after every 15 seconds. That is what the issue. So that's why whatever the delay that we have added of 1 second, you keep that around 15 seconds so that you will get the result. I hope everyone is now getting these values. HTTP start port, where it is written? Yeah, that is by default port is we do not have to say that why it is 80 and like this. By default, most of the HTTP hosts and servers are get connected with the, by default, the server port is the 80. Okay, so means there is no such a logic that why there is a 80, why I have selected 80. So I have not selected that 80. The server get connected with the port 80 is there. Let me try to decrease it again. Let me decrease it again and check whether we get the values or not. So once you change the values here, you have to wait almost more than 15 to 30 seconds, and then you have to observe here. Okay. So now we are getting the values. You put just yes or no whether you are getting the values or not. You can also keep changing your port, but if you know you have your own server and client is known to you, okay, you can also keep your own uh, ports. Most of the times, to keep the secrecy while sending data, people use their own ports. Okay. I request all of you, please write either yes or no whether you got this data or not. Those who are either doing, otherwise I will continue with the next part of our module, that is the getting the data from this cloud to your mobile app. You can also, shall I continue then? Okay, so remember that if you do not get the data on this cloud, then on your mobile app, you will not get any data. Okay. So if you get the data over here, now next we'll move. So before that, what I will do, we stop this one. Okay, stop the simulation. Fine. Now I have shared one app to you. That is the IEEE underscore SHGMC underscore IoT underscore workshop.zip. So you don't need to extract it. You have to download it on a mobile. Okay, you have to download it on a mobile and you have to just rename it. Okay, do not extract it, you just rename it. So just like suppose I'm just downloading it. So what you have to do, you have to just download it first. Okay, just like I'm downloading here. So I'm doing this on my computer. So you have to do this on your mobile phone. Okay, so let me save it. In folder. Now, this is what the file that you have downloaded, what you have to do, you have to just rename it. Okay. So what actually you have to do, you have to just rename it. So whatever your file is there, you just rename it. And whatever the zip is there, zip, you have to just remove it and you have to add apk. So you just do it in your mobile. So actually your mobile, in your mobile, you can do it easily. So you'll get the file like this. Do not extract it, you just rename it. Now once you are done with the renaming, now please try to install the same app. So once you are done with this, I'll show you. So you'll get the view like this. So you'll get the view like this, correct? If you install the app, you'll get the view like this. In your mobile, you have to give the permission to install the apps from unknown sources. Otherwise, it will not be possible to install this app, because this app we are not installing from the Google Play Store. This you are installing from some other sources. So that's why you have to give the permission in your mobile to install this app from unknown sources. Now, if you are done with this, actually I have made this app using this MIT App Inventor. So I think you know how to design apps in AI2 App Inventor. Actually, this is not uh, just to develop an app in a MIT App Inventor takes more time. So that's why I have just created an app for you. Otherwise, you can go to the MIT App Inventor. You can log in there and you can create your own apps. So likewise, just like I have created here. So this is what the app I have created in a MIT App Inventor. So here, likewise, you can create our app. You can change the names, logos, and you can add the different content. Then you can write its code. Likewise, okay, you can write its code and everything, and then it will work very easily. Okay, you can put a maximum value here like this. So whatever the maximum value minimum, since here the minimum value I have added here is the 0, due to this I will not get the correct result, but fine. Okay, so in this way we can have the your own app development using MIT App Inventor. So here is the different components that we have used. So in MIT App Inventor, actually there are different windows available, just like the palette, where just like image, date picker, buttons, sliders, all these we can use in our app. Then there is a viewer, how your app will look in a mobile. The different components are there. Which are the components that we are using from the palette? What you can change their properties here, and that properties will come in a last window. That is a properties, and here all these properties we can change. So this is what we do in our MIT App Inventor, and we can create our own apps. At the background of this MIT App Inventor, there is a called as a block level of programming, and this block level of programming that we have to do. Okay, just like here, you can create just some block level of programming, and once you are done with this, you can go to the build. Now you can create either APK file, or you can directly use the QR code, and from your mobile phone you can scan that QR code to download the APK file in the mobile itself, or you can save the .apk file in your My Computer. So that this is the build application is available. So if there are any errors, then it will also gives you that there are some errors in your block level or anything. So it gives you itself in the blocks. Okay, and fine. So just like here, it is. Let me show you. So here it is showing how many warnings are here, 0. How many errors are here, 0. So if there are any warnings or errors available, it will show you some warnings and errors here. Since this app has no any errors or warnings, so finally you have to click on either app, or either convert into a QR code to download the APK, or to directly save that app in the form of APK file on your computer. So it's fine. So in this way we can do this, and now finally you can install it on your mobile phone. So for your IoT projects, either it is based on the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, you can create your own apps from this MIT App Inventor. So that gives you a good idea or sense to the examiners or your product. Okay, now once we are done with this, okay, I'll show you how your app will look. So I think your app will look like this, correct? Your app will look like this, and there are two blank text are available. That is a channel ID and enter read API key is there, correct? So you will not get any data there. Temperature will be 0, light will be 0, everything will be 0 there. Okay, so what actually you have to do, you have to just go to your ThinkStick. Okay. Yeah. So you have to go to the ThinkStick. Now see here, there is a channel ID available here. You just note it down. This channel ID is available. You just note it down, 1284062 on a paper. You just note it down, or you just copy it. If you are using it on a mobile, you just copy it. If you are using the ThinkStick in your mobile, you just copy it. Or if you are using on your laptop, then note it down your channel ID 1284062. This is for my channel ID. You just note it down for your, and then go to the API keys, and then there is a read API keys is there. Again, note it down. Okay, and whatever your channel ID and read API keys is there, remember that here there is a issue with O and 0. You have to check that one. Now read your API key and channel ID, note it down on your paper, and go to your this mobile app. Okay, wherever there is a channel ID written, just write your channel ID and click on this channel ID button. Then enter your complete read API key and click on API. Once you do this, you should get whatever your last value available on a ThinkStick in your app itself. I request those who are working up to me, try this and check whether you are getting data or not. Yeah, okay, fine. check whether you are getting your data or not. Now try to go to your Tinkercad. Okay, you just go to your Tinkercad, and what you have to do, you start the simulation and change the temperature value. Change the temperature value and check in your mobile app whether your temperature value changes or not. Then you can say that from your IoT device, we are getting the data through cloud on your mobile app. And if you are getting this, it means it's working correctly. If you are facing any issues, you can unmute yourself. You can ask your question and query directly. If you are done with this, you can put either yes. Yeah, there are many people working after me, and they are trying this one. Fine. Yeah, Mr. H1 has got it's working. Great. So now it's complete your IoT project that we did using Tinkercad. So we can monitor our data of our IoT node using a mobile app. Okay. Now, if you would like to do the same thing in a real life, what you have to do, you just buy one Arduino, then one ESP8266, one LDR, one resistor, and one temperature sensor. Do all the connection, and then in the code, only few things that you have to change. What you have to change, we need a Wi-Fi. So either in your home, if you have your own Wi-Fi router, or you just create one mobile hotspot to give the Wi-Fi to this Wi-Fi network. So whatever your SSID or whatever the name of your hotspot is there, you just write there. Okay, and then whatever the password of your Wi-Fi is there, you just write it. Then download that code in your Arduino. Okay, and again execute everything. Then you can see that your real IoT node will give you the data on your mobile app. Great. Yeah, Mr. Rishikesh is saying also the value is changing. Yeah, good. Fine. I hope you got the way we are getting the values in your mobile app. Now at home or other things that you can try is what you can change the different sensors available in this Tinkercad.
Sir, show the API ID once.
Hello.
Sir, show the API key once.
API is. I'm not
API
able.
key. Show the API key once.
Yeah. Your API key is there. You just go to your ThinkSpeak and there is a API key tab available. Okay, in this API key, you have to select the read API key. This one.
Okay, sir, got it.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, can you provide the blocks from the App Inventor?
So it is easily available on. Actually, we can do this your own also, or I will try to provide that .ai file to everyone. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, obviously, we can have the values in. Otherwise, we cannot get the IoT concept if you just want to text values. Okay, so because we have routing this data through the cloud and then you are monitoring. So anywhere in the world you are, you can you can monitor your data, you can send your data, everything that you can do, correct? So, and if you want just a simple text message, then obviously what we have to do, then there are different text messaging services are available. The text messaging services also can send you the messages to you, but that will not be the concept of your IoT because we are routing data through the internet. I hope you are understanding this one. Can we monitor the data on multiple devices in same? Yes, yes, you can monitor the data on multiple devices. You just put the same API and the channel ID there. But remember that your ThingSpeak gives you the data monitoring only after every 15 seconds. That is what the issue. Otherwise, everything it will work. Also, there is a, I think restriction on number of channels creation and the number of data that we store in a ThingSpeak. So that also we have to monitor. So, but I think for your final year projects or from for your testing your prototype, I think this is sufficient. If you need more things from your ThingSpeak, then I think you need to buy it from the ThingSpeak. Just like more channels or more data, then the data monitoring at say 1 second. So what are the things that you need extra that you have to buy from the ThingSpeak? Otherwise, just for testing your prototypes and doing your final year projects or your postgraduate projects, I think this is sufficient to get the some channels and to get the values. So the project just like where we water the plants, or we can have the data from rooms, or we can have the data from say farms, where we don't need a real-time data. We need some data which is available at after particular time. So that we can at such application we can use the ThingSpeak. Yes, there is a Firebase is also available. Firebase database is there, which is available. Then IO board is there, Create board is there. So there are many freely available. Then Adafruit is there, Adafruit Cloud is there. Even I think recently Arduino has its own cloud is there, so that you can use. I am not able to show you the app screen because this is on my mobile. I am showing whatever the thing on my laptop. Okay. As I got some of the people are sharing that they are getting the values on their mobile. I'll see who got the, yeah, Mr. Rishikesh Patil is there. Rishikesh Patil, Mr. Rishikesh Patil. Are you getting the values, Mr. Rishikesh?
Yes, sir. Values are changing.
Okay. So Ashish, you just follow the same path, you will get the complete values, and your values also will change. But I said that you will get a delay of almost 15 to 30 seconds while reading the data. So you have to keep the patience.
Sir, after some time, it just stops accepting the data. It gives us the bad.
Yes, why this is so? Because we are sending data continuously from our Tinkercad. We have added a delay of only 1 second. Correct?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
So what actually, if you increase the delay to say 15 or 20 seconds, then whatever that lagging that we are getting, that will be removed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that is why I said that please do not use the freely or prototyping of the on for your ThinkSpeak for real-time application where just like the medical or such healthcare system where you need a very right away data. Only the applications where we need a data from after 1 hour or after every minute or after 10 minutes. So such type of application you go for it. If you have very critical real-time applications are there, I suggest not to go for such type of clouds because these are the free clouds and either or you go with these clouds, but you have to buy them because the all every the free versions will have some limitations.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah. So I request the participant, if you, do you have any queries, you can directly ask me. Otherwise, we are done with the today's session. I apologize for the earlier, there were some audio issue for almost 10 to 15 minutes, but we tried now finally resolve that one. So depending on, regarding your certificates, those who have attended the at least one session will issue the certificate through your email. So it will take 1 or 2 days. So please have some patience. In next 2 days, we'll try to issue your certificate. So there are many participants who have paid their fees to this workshop, but they were not able to attend this workshop. If they have not attended both the sessions, we will adjust this fees in our coming workshops. So if you do not have any issues, yeah, Ashish Verma, yeah, Ashish, I will let me try to end this today's session. In the same meeting, I will go through your screen. Yes, please. Yeah. So I thanks all the participants for joining this IoT workshop. Though this is free for all IEEE members, uh, we kept some of the fees for the non-IEEE members. There are almost more than 150 registrations we got. Out of that, we just sent the acceptance to around 80 people. And so I thanks most of the people are working also after me and they tried the hands-on session. I hope this will help you while doing your final year projects or while doing your postgraduate and some of your research work. I also thanks my team, my chair, our chair, Ms. Harshada, and the coordinators, Gargi Pela and the Atharva Kakade, who supported me during this workshop. I also thank my complete IEEE team who tirelessly working for this workshop, preparation from the poster design, messages, and then accepting the emails, testing their IEEE membership and everything. I thank my complete IEEE team. I thank our head of the department, Dr. J. Gawande sir. I thank our principal sir and our management for always uh, giving us the support to organize such type of workshop. And finally, I would like to thank our uh, technical planning and activity committee of IEEE Bombay section chair, Mr. Saurabh Mehta sir, to have given us the permission to organize this workshop under the TPSC IEEE Bombay section. So I thank IEEE Bombay section who technically always sponsors such a type of event. Thank you all for joining for this. So with this, I say this permission with the permission of chair. I say this session is over. If you would like to say any feedback for this workshop, you can unmute yourself and you can say. So those who have some issues, they can remain in the meeting. Otherwise, you can leave the meeting. And if you would like to say any feedback about the workshop, you can unmute yourself. You can directly say something. I missed. Sorry, I missed our yesterday's speaker, Mr. Hannan Sotopai, who is also the secretary of the TPSC IEEE Bombay section. So I also give many thanks to him because he, within a one message, he accepted my invitation to be a speaker for this workshop. So thank you, Mr. Hannan Sotopai Sirji. So thank you all. Mr. Ashiji, will you please share your screen so that you will look what the problem you are facing. Mr. Ashish Verma. Yes, Mr. Rahul will try to, just like Dr. Amol Jhari sir has pointed out about the mobile app. So in next coming week, we are also trying to have the same type of workshop through a mobile app designing using MIT App Inventor. So just wait for our email. We'll also share the same type of workshop that will be free for all IEEE members. So I think you don't need that AI file, but you can create your own mobile app in just coming days. Mr. Ashish Verma, will you please share your screen? Okay, fine. So we'll stop here. Thank you all of you. Now I'm going to end this meeting.